Okay, this is a formation at Lovers Leap at Breaks International Park in Virginia and Kentucky. Here you can see one of the boulders that's fallen out of this cliff. It's obviously rolled like a snowball with the mud flow that carved this canyon at Breaks. And then, since we're on the edge here, the mud flow deposited these boulders all in a little pile. Because we're on the edge of the mud flow, we're up pretty high in elevation, about 1,600 feet. And the river's at 1,000 feet below. And you can see embedded in this wall a bunch of vertical sedimentary layers that would have been laid down by the mud flow or rolling around rocks. You can see clay rocks that have been embedded in the side. Here you can see a piece of wall with fine formations of what's been rolling around the outside, and on the inside is actually a conglomerate of what was put together. And then along the whole thing here, you can see there was a layer where it happened a couple of different times. This layer goes all the way through this outcropping, so it came through in what was probably waves or surges, and then it looks like at one point what's below is more dark. I don't know if it would have a volcanic activity associated with it or what. It's a dark shell, and what's above is purely clay. What's interesting is around Ohio we see these things sitting in people's front yards all the time, and we're told by geologists that those are formed by glaciers. And actually it makes a lot more sense that these are formed by mud flows that come through. You can see the size of this boulder, what kind of power would be moving. This is about the size of 3 suburban cars, and you can see it, the cavity it left. Here's the boulder, here's the cavity it left in the cliff back there. And then walking around, we can see smaller boulders. And you can see layers all around this huge rock, and where 2 of them are mashed together, I'll zoom in up there, you can see all the vertical layers that were around this big rock there right in the center of the screen. And then on the left you can see smaller rocks, and then there's some more layers there on the left hand side. It's now in the center. There's a couple of more of those rocks that are embedded, that are been rounded by the mud flow. And then there's some dark rocks here. I don't know what kind these are. There's 2 layers of them. Actually there's 3 layers. There's a layer of really kind of dark stuff down below. And then there's this layer here. And then there's these layers up here. And these rocks were obviously rolling and covered with layers of mud. They're each about 3/4 of an inch thick. And what's on the inside looks like, I don't know if it's basalt or what. You can see one sticking out up there. The outside looks clay when it hasn't been chipped off, but when you get below the last layer, you can see it's actually a very dark gray kind of stone. And here's one here. You can actually see the rounding texture of the mud that was formed while this rock was rolling through the mud flow right here. And again, this is at Lovers Leap at Breaks Interstate Park in Virginia. Here again you can see the layers, and then you can see a layer which is about 3 feet thick, and then on top of that is more vertical layers, or more horizontal layers, and then above that is a huge vertical layer. Here again is a bunch of these, I call them snowballs, that have been mashed together in this layer that's about 3 feet thick, and they're chipping away just like you're looking at the side of an onion. And these are all, they're chipping away vertically in a circular pattern. And then you can see where they've been mashed together right there. And here's two snowballs that have been mashed together right here. And you can see actually the layer that makes up in between them there almost looks like you're looking at trees. And then this layer underneath, I don't know, it's very dark. I don't know what that would be. There'd be a lot of fire associated with that. I don't know. Some of this looks like even it's still wood. So maybe this is a coal bed in process, because this actually still looks like wood when I pick it off. So maybe this is bark. I don't know. I think it is bark. It still feels like bark. It's semi-calcified. So.
Where in all this rock?
Oh, funny. Now here we're getting into more black coalite stuff, and here's a cavity of one of the rocks, smaller rocks that was in, and here's where the road has been cut through, and in the cut you can see several rocks that have been rolled along by the mud flow, embedded in these layers. Here's one here, you can see, and then over here, down here is the real obvious one. There's a picture of this one with my hat on top of it. All charcoal looking like stuff. Bunches of them. Bunches of them.